Hello, Kobra. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
How have been your lockdown there in Canada?
It's a crazy thing to reflect on now because we're going into our second year, of all this different way of operating in life. And it's been phases. The first couple months to 6 months last year, I was processing a lot and probably like a lot of people in the world, not just only artists, really feeling confused about my identity and my purpose. Uh, but I became very clear about a lot of things, and then I transitioned into probably one of the most joyful states I've been in years. So I feel really grateful right now, actually. And despite all the crazy things and sad things and losses that people have encountered, I could say I lost things too, but I feel really rejuvenated and grateful for the time to slow down because I probably, like many people, wouldn't have given myself that time, and I really needed it and my body needed it. And so I'm healthier, I'm happier, and I have a lot of new ideas that I want to pursue and grab by the horns. So I'm doing very good over here. The lockdown has been interesting, and um, yeah, I'm feeling good.
So, have you changed your routines during the lockdown, or you have been doing the same but in a quiet mood?
The routines changed quite a bit. First of all, I'm a really active person, so we've been trying to figure out how we can work inside our little apartment, me and my husband. And he sings too, so he's in at least his own room where he can record. And the other things that changed were, of course, our focus with our energy. He's been working a lot on Camelot. I've been working a ton on actually a new path, which is I'm going to call it integrative performance coaching. I really discovered that I've always been passionate about helping people in their journey to realizing joy for themselves, whatever that looks like, and also alignment. After having a lot of health issues, I really realized when I came off the road in 2019 that my sicknesses and the way things were showing up in my body, because I was having some pretty severe health problems that kept presenting themselves. It was because I was like lacking some serious alignment in my life. So I look at the body now as like this whole thing that is just affected by emotional, mental, and physical aspects. And it manifests when you're not listening to yourself. So yeah, I've been doing that, and then starting to open back up my solo project of music. I started it in 2018, and now I've just started it again in this new year. I had to come to the right place to feel creative again, and that's where I'm at right now.
So,
So the routine is very different.
so now your fans from the music world, what can expect from Cobra this year?
Uh, Hopefully there will be music this year. My plan is to release something in the fall. I'm not sure if it'll be the album yet, but definitely a couple songs. I've already written 11 songs with people, but I have so much more to work on. It's really eclectic right now. It's like grungy audio slave mixed with folk, mixed with like uh, 70s rock and roll, like heart style kind of stuff. So very rock and roll, very groovy, but some like earthier tones in some of the other songs.
Hmm.
It's
And
balanced.
yeah, and you have said that your husband Tommy and you can record in your own house because you have a home studio there. Have you record some pieces for your own project, but also for another kind of music, maybe just for
Yeah.
it makes you feel more free.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you were writing music before we were talking, so you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been awesome to have that. It's really interesting how the world has changed where we can all record our own stuff now, you know? It's been really a lucky thing in this time. Um, and also collaborating with people has been interesting. Usually I would love to do it with people one-on-one or in a studio. But now it's been more online, and I've had some successful Zoom sessions. You know, it's not like the preference, but it does work.
Yeah. That's the mood right now. There's no another choice.
Yeah.
And well, next March 8th is the International Women Day here in Spain, and I would like to know how have you felt the the growing of the social media with your band, with Cobra and Lotus, and how has the social media affected to the band? Because it's different. Sometimes it's different for female fronted bands than for other kind of bands. You know?
Yeah. This has been a very conflicting subject for me for many years, actually. I really loved it when there was street teaming and people were really excited for shows when they saw posters. Um, and I started my band right on the edge of when that was still happening and social media was just starting. Um, I actually didn't even get like an Instagram account until our first label, Universal, told me that it was necessary and going to be necessary. And that was in 2012. So I was like 4 years later after I'd started the preliminary bit of this project, Cobra and the Lotus. Uh, it's been um, it's been interesting. I think that uh, there are really good aspects, and there are also some aspects that can become very dangerous and very negative. And I actually did a survey this year with my following. Um, I didn't really push it. I just put it out there, and I got over 1,000 responses, people filling out their feelings around things, because I wanted to see, you know, surely to God, like I'm one person, so I feel the same thing as almost everyone else going through similar feelings. Like we're just so similar, and it was like that. It was like everyone saw good things, everyone saw bad things, but our capability of not feeling distracted, um, and uh, not filling our time with these like medial tasks. Like social media really makes you if you go down the, not makes you, you choose, but if you go down the wormhole of always looking, always being addicted to a like or a post or seeing what's next or pulling it down, you start to lose your strength and being able to focus on stuff, you know? And I've noticed that happen in myself. I've also noticed that over the years, I felt really vulnerable on social media because everyone and anyone can have a voice, and not in constructive ways, not in ways that would face you in person. Um, so finding tools to not engage and not let like nastiness or just someone being a straight up asshole uh, affect you was something that it's taken me really until like this last year, actually. And that was when I took the time and I really dissected it. I don't even have social media on my phone. I use it to make posts. I set an amount of time that I want to engage with people that um, have spoken to me and spent their time and energy doing that. And then I put it away, because otherwise it can turn into a life sucking thing. And I want to really tap into the power of what it can be used for in a positive way. I want to put something that doesn't make people more angry or more upset, because there's a lot of it happening right now and it's infectious. And I also want to appreciate that it can connect us. So I'm trying to make rules for myself around that. And I don't know how other people are handling it, but I have to be really, really strict with how I operate with it and how much of my life it's taking, um, and what my intention behind using it is. Uh, I would say for the band and being an artist, I found it to have um, a really big blocking effect on reaching the people you need to reach. Uh, it's been something that I haven't figured out yet with even um, reaching out to our own following on Facebook, because there are so many algorithms, and it is a business. Facebook is a business. It's really tough to let people know we were even coming to their city anymore. So we started to see that really affecting our shows when we would come back to the same place. There was all this growth happening, and we couldn't harness it over the past, like, especially, I would say, 3 years. I've really noticed it. And I would advertise to our own fans. It was crazy, just to have them see the show going up, and it wasn't that successful. So I don't know how to contribute to having a way that works, around that. Like, I wish I could tell someone that's up and coming how to use that to their advantage, but I think the only way that you can really use it is to grow your own brand and express your personality and engage people. And so you got to put in that work these days through it. Yeah, it's a different game. I'm still warming up to it.
And when you read the comments or in your social media on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and have you found that kind of comments which are not which are like dirty, just for the how you look or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
and what do you feel when you read that kind of comments?
um, I I just laugh, actually. I find it kind of humorous, and I've been really fortunate that I actually haven't gotten inundated with so much of that. I've heard from people in the industry, or women in the industry, all these things that they've been sent. Like, I've been sent one dick pic in my whole career. That's
Just
pretty.
one.
That's amazing. Yeah, yeah, and it's a fine balance of, like, I think also what people decide to come to you for too. Like, I I have a social media presence that I think it's not that sexual. Um, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being sexual or actually expressing yourself in any way. But if I presented myself some way, I kind of know, like, what is going to come from it, and I think it's, like, unfortunate that um, you have to worry about that to such a big degree, because I think many women have to deal with a lot of crap that they shouldn't have to deal with. But I'm very conscious of what I guess I'm putting out there, and I guess, like, I find, like, whatever I put out, it attracts, it attracts something that they're interested in, the same thing as me. I'm a very this is bashing myself, but I call myself, like, a very unpopular, boring poster, because I go a little too deep. I'm a really cerebral and at the same time spiritual person, and I wrap everything I do into that, so it's really not everyone's cup of tea. So I haven't also made my social media, like, easy to be popular for people, you know.
Yeah, I've seen it the last months.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's going to attract only people that are interested in that kind of thinking and that kind of feeling. Like if they vibe with it, they vibe with it. And it's not really bringing in like a ton of like, show me your tits,
And when you
I've
have
had that
had
though. That being said, I've faced the same thing. It shows, I've had all that, like show me your tits, just a whole bunch of crap, and it's not very nice. It really sucks
I
because you
guess.
can't do anything about like you're a woman, and you have a woman's body, and you should never feel like you have to hide your curves, and it can feel a little insulting and unsafe sometimes.
Yeah. And when you have had a photo shoot or something like that, ha, has your label or management or whatever sexualize how you look just for increase your popularity?
Um, I only experienced a little bit of that when I signed to Universal. And it was actually me that signed to Universal, our first label, and then they had me a choice of if I had Kobra and Lotus, and I was like, well, of course, I'm bringing the band, and that was the first time I had felt any pressure for what I looked like. I actually had um, a manager of one of the biggest rock bands in the world. I'm not gonna name it, but he told me that I needed to lose 10 pounds also to have any sort of success. And I was just like, well, holy smokes. Like because I'm not a tiny girl, but I'm also like, I'm healthy, I'm fit. And I, yeah, I remember being like shocked because I'm not overweight in an unhealthy way. And they also didn't like my dreadlocks. When I went through a dreadlocks phase, they threatened to drop me and the project because it wasn't the image they had signed. So I've definitely, and I was told to be mysterious, hide my relationships. There were a lot of really interesting things that I would like to be able to also share with individuals that maybe are going through that when they come up because um, all those things for especially the genre that we were in and chasing. Like I wasn't trying to be a pop star, so I was just trying to be me and do Cobra and the Lotus, and none of those things helped me, to listen to them. They actually just hurt me, and it made me feel like I was hiding myself. It was very short lived though, like eventually the nerd just comes back out and you can't suppress who you are. But I did change my hair back at that time because I was like, well, shit, like I want to have all the things that this label's bringing to us because it was a really good deal. And um, I learned a lot. I'd like to protect other girls that go through the same thing and help them separate also what matters from what is constructive,
Yeah.
because I've had a lot of things that weren't constructive.
Hmm.
But later on, it didn't matter. Like Napalm has let me totally be who I am and how I want to be. And I think they're doing the same for all their artists as far as I'm concerned. And the label in between, Titan Media, they let me be who I was. They didn't push that at all. And yeah, they actually went with the evolution as well. Like they went with the changes that I was growing into, which was really cool.
And have you known more women who has the same messages from management or something like that, like the one you have said that you had to lose 10 pounds? Have you known more
Yeah,
women?
I haven't asked any other women actually. We've talked about definitely I've talked with peers in my industry uh, about difficult things that we're still facing. Very in like it's not equal. There's some things that um, if you're a woman in the industry, it's not something that a man would experience. And it doesn't necessarily at all have to be sexual based. It can be based on respect, in general. I've had some tumultuous circumstances where I've had to take people to court, and I didn't like, I didn't think I'd ever have to do that, because they would never do that in a million years to their male counterparts that they're working with. Like some of the things that I've had to battle. I have felt this common theme where we feel like we get pushed like this, and then eventually because we're a woman, we're expected to roll over, because many of us do. Like I've rolled over eventually, been like, okay, we're fine. This is how it is, or you can screw me over, or whatever, and eventually we all get to a point, and I think I'm also seeing that a lot in my friends right now that are among the industry. And these are women that are in bands that bands that the world knows, where they've just been like, fuck this, Like I'm not even I'm not feeling good anymore. I think that's also where I came into play, like after some of the experiences I had like in the industry. In the last couple or so years, they really just are things that beat you down, and then eventually you're like, no, I'm going to show them that actually I don't roll over anymore, and I'm going to walk away, and that I don't believe those I want to say like manipulations that are like, if you don't do this, you won't have this, and I'm not talking about sexual things. I'm just talking about like power plays. And it's happening quite a bit still. And it's really awesome, like to have other women that are sharing this experience, though. I have to say, like, one of them, she really, because she was already on the other side of getting through a lot, it helped me have the strength to pull through to the other side and be courageous, and also like walk away from a few things and be like, I don't need it. That's not what made me who I am today.
So do you feel that you and the rest of the women have to work harder than men to get the same success?
In some ways, yeah, I think we are still, many of us, proving ourselves when we shouldn't have to prove ourselves. But it's changed a lot. It's not nearly as much as it used to be, and that's because the balance of women and men out there doing this like rock and roll, metal. I mean, women were always a huge part of pop culture. They had no problem dominating in there. But now it's like it's coming back up, in rock and metal. Like it's you see so many women doing it now. It's not even like an odd thing or a unique thing. It's really awesome, and I see the like people in the world accepting them as just another musician, another talent coming up, just like any other person, and that's really wonderful to see. There's like just those little bits of here and there, though. Like I remember very distinctly in my mind, like 3 years ago, there was a Russian promoter, and he punished my whole band. He took away the water. He took away the food. He gave us nothing that was on our contract, because I had shown up. We were supporting Camelot as a band, supporting Camelot, just us together. And on the second show, suddenly there was bottles of water and there was our dinner, and we should have gotten that both nights. That's a basic needs. That's not very expensive for a promoter to provide. You know what I mean? And he was game playing, and he shook my hand. He pulled me into his office, and he said, he wanted to shake my hand, and he said, I just thought you were some chick riding your boyfriend's coattails, and I needed to see that you actually, were working hard and worthy of being here, and I couldn't even believe it. And that, I now looking back, I'm trying really hard not to judge it, because I do know there's like social and cultural uh, constraints that are passed down through generations. I think that was one of those. It was a really old generational thing playing out there, and it's not something I see very often at all anymore. Like, dudes don't do that very much, but he did that. That was, so it's still like percolating here and there. You'll have those situations where you're like, are you kidding me right now? So like my whole band didn't even get like clean water, because you wanted to see if I was working hard enough and grinding this out hard enough to be here. It was kind of mind blowing, but I recognize they're at their own place in their evolution of life, and whatever their model of the world is really playing out.
So, do you think that that's the worst thing you have lived while you have been working as musician, or you have had some worse situations in your career?
No, I've had a lot of worse situations than that. That's really minor.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Uh, I mean, I expect any journey to be full of its own obstacles, but definitely some of them I've grown tired of, and that's also what I've been reflecting on the last year. I'm like, I don't want to, um, as much as possible, create an opportunity for that situation again. I've had some really just unfortunate things. I feel like I can't talk about them because they're really they're not things you talk about publicly. But I have had to bring lawyers into situations a few times, and because it's gotten so far with something. Or you hire someone and then they do something really bad, like sign a paper behind your back that you said you wasn't their job to sign on behalf of you, and then you're stuck in a really bad position. And I would say also, I'm very blessed to have been able to work with the amazing, gifted people that I have had throughout the last decade or so. But it has been really tough to be one girl running an all male ship, because we are different planets. Like, I'm very woman, so it's that's also presented its own wear and tear on my spirit sometimes. It can be hard to just be this one woman, like standing in only men, and I chose that, so I recognize that I put myself there, and I'm really lucky for all the situations and experiences I had. But it can be really hard when you're managing everyone's also individual things that they bring to the table, good and bad, and also whatever vices people have too. It's my band, so I have to look out for everybody, and sometimes that has been way too overwhelming for me.
When you think about that shit, do you think, when you are thinking about this, that being a musician is something which makes you completely happy?
I think it does when things are supportive enough around you. If you have the right people to support you, and if you have like a really strong anchoring in your intention for why you're doing music, why you need to do music for yourself. It was enough for a long time, but then as I've gotten older, it wasn't just for fun anymore, so it almost became too serious. And when stress starts to come into anything, that you're passionate about, it can affect and dampen that passion and that sense of why you're doing it in the first place. So I think it's just, it can be for many people, and music is going to always be a massive thing in my heart. Uh, but it's so crucial that I take care of myself and that I keep in mind why I'm doing the music, because that's what drives you through all the hard things too. You really need to be resilient, as you know, to be a musician. It's just, or any artist. It's you're choosing uh, this path that you're contributing for nothing coming back financially for most of your life. I mean, even when I talk to friends, like people would be shocked if they knew the truth of how people actually live on the other side of a successful band. Um, I'm on the smaller side of coming into like a medium range of bands, and I know many bands that are bigger than me, and everyone has to work to in some other way, or they have their partner supporting them so that they can make it all happen. And it's like crazy. It doesn't matter if there's pyro happening on stage or whatever. It's a labor of love in many ways till the end.
Yeah. And for a band like Cobra and Lotus, um, nowadays, well, before the pandemic, I guess
Yeah.
it's complicated for a band like you, that you have to be touring almost all the time to earn money, because nowadays
It's
the albums are not a way to make money like maybe 15 years ago. So nowadays, with the pandemic, what situation is now, have you living now with Cobra and Lotus, for example? Because it had to
yeah.
be very tough.
You do other work. That's what's happening. That's why I'm also I've been in school. I'm doing this building this performance coaching, and I I just think that's all you can really do, unless you're doing things like Patreon platforms. I think some people are actually living off of that, and that's been a really wonderful avenue for people to do those online, patron of the arts accounts. And um, I think people that enjoy musicians and all forms of creators are also loving it because they're missing live music and missing the events. And so it's that is like really working well, those kinds of things. I tried Patreon. It just wasn't for me at like the time I'm in my life, because I am working on other music and I'm also working on other stuff. So I couldn't give people what they were looking for, at this time. But I do think it's wonderful. So the world is finding like new ways to make this possible, to support the arts still, and that's really cool to see. Um, Otherwise, if you're not doing that though, yeah, you need to have other work that you're working on to sustain yourself, so that you can, um, work on this in the future, or maybe now, if people are doing that. I don't know. I mean, we just released an album before all this happened, so uh, definitely weren't going to go in and write another one that didn't even get toured.
Hmm. Now you have been doing another stuff like coaching, as you have said. What do you enjoy more, your musician work or your new coach work?
Uh, Neither. They actually are one to the same to me, because music for me, I mean, it's so personal for people, but for me, I got into music specifically because I saw how it connected people. And I think the world is really lacking connection. We're all trying to stand on our own plot of land right now and have our own thing and our own this and that. And there's this lack of connection still happening in a huge way. So that was my driving intention to get into music. I thought it was a vehicle to connect people, and also um, uplift people in their lives in some shape or form. And everyone has their own thing for music. Like, you have your own thing for music, but that was mine. And so that goes really hand in hand with the kind of integrative, whole-rounded performance coaching that I'm doing, which is centered around elevating the person and making them feel like they're more open to opportunities, and seeing obstacles as opportunities instead of, having the attitude of, oh, like life is happening to me all the time, and just breaking them out of that. So um, they belong together. I don't know, in my head. Yeah.
Well, let's see in the future when there are more tours again and more how it works. And the last thing, what message would you like to share with your fans or with musicians?
I want to share that I really truly believe all of you, musicians and fans of musicians, should follow whatever makes you light up in your life and figure out how to do more of that. That is my my one thing I want to share, because I think that if we all chased more of what lit us up, it would start to be a friendlier place around here on our spaceship planet Earth,
Okay, so thank you very much for your time, Kobra. It's always special for me, as I told you more times with another interviews, because you were the first person who I interview with in my journalist and music life. So thank you very much, and it's a pleasure. And I don't know when, but I hope to see you soon here in Spain or wherever.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I would love that too. I love Spain, like in general, the country. I've been there several times, not on tour as well. So thanks for having me today, and take care over there. Hang in
You
there.
too.
You.
And take care with the temperature.
Yeah, I will. I know my feet, I don't have socks on, and they're little ice cubes right now. But it's all good. I grew up in this, so I know how to deal with it.
So thank you very much, Cobra, and have a good night.
Thank you. You as well. Bye.
Bye.